guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a recommendation video for some marriage and trouble romances. I love this trope so much and I feel like I don't read it enough. I do have 7 recommendations for you, and I did not include romances where it's a love triangle because I feel like that would give away the ending, because that means like it's a marriage in crisis and the people married are the ones that end up together. Because I would never recommend a book where, because I've read some where it's like they're having trouble in their marriage and then they go and be with someone else and that's like the premise of the romance. I would not recommend that as a marriage and trouble romance because they're not gonna be together. But then I don't want to recommend one where I'm like, hey, it's a love triangle, but like they end up with this person. So none of those are in here. So if you're like, hey, what about like this one or this one, it's because I feel like that doesn't actually count. I'm also not including Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan because that's a second chance because they've already divorced. So these are ones where they are currently married, where they are trying to work out their problems, and that is one of my favorite tropes ever. And give me all your recommendations because I have not read enough. Like, I only have 7 for this video, and I don't think I've ever done this video on my channel, but the first one I just read yesterday, and that is Do I Know You by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegman Broca. I can never say that name. This one is, I think, their newest release, and I really enjoyed this one. I listened to it entirely driving home from New York yesterday, and they are on their way to this hotel where they are staying for their 5th year anniversary, and just immediately in the car ride there, it's so awkward. They like don't know what to say to each other, and they just don't know how to communicate and just like have fun with each other anymore, and they just feel really distant. And they've only been married 5 years. They got married very young though, and they're not sure like where it went wrong. And when they get there, the hotel people are like, oh, you actually have 2 rooms. It must be a mistake because his mom was the one who like gifted it to them for their anniversary. And the heroine's like, wait, why don't we stay apart for a couple days? Because she is horrified of like the just awkwardness that's gonna be the entire vacation. And so he's like, what? And horrified, but he goes along with it and he's kind of upset. And then what happens is when she comes to the bar later that night to see him, she introduces herself to him because he's sitting there with someone else, and they're gonna act like they're strangers and kind of date all over again and kind of find that spark again. And they end up falling back in love, but there's lots of ups and downs where then they're like, am I falling for a different person, like this persona that my partner's putting on, or is that actually still part of them that I love? And are they gonna be that same way like when we get back to reality kind of thing? So I had a lot of fun with this. I really like the whole setting of being at this resort where there is like a dating conference going on where he makes a friend who's like trying to date and like figure things out, which I thought was really funny. And they're just like away from the real world trying to figure things out together before going back to the real world. And I had a lot of fun reading this. I definitely recommend the audiobook, and check this out for just a very interesting, I've never read one like this where it's kind of like couples therapy, but like they're pretending they don't know each other. The other recent one I read is What We Broke by Marley Valentine. This is an MM one, very, very emotional. This flashes between the past when they met and the present when they are on the brink of divorce because they're in couples therapy because they lost a child. They don't know how to deal with their grief and let each other in, and also they're dealing with one of the hero's family where he had gotten his high school best friend pregnant. They weren't in love, but they wanted to experience sex, so they had sex together. She got pregnant, she had the baby, and so they've been just raising her together, and she's like 10, 11, 12 in this book, and so she is a really important piece of the story as well. She's not the one who passes away. They were attempting to have another child together, and that child passed away. So it's a lot of like the family dynamic as well, and very emotional seeing them fall so hard for each other and starting a family together and getting married, and then now where everything is broken and it seems like they can't communicate and lean on each other and trust each other again. They do go to counseling together, and I just really love this, having to confront what you mean to people and how you affect people, and it's so good. Very emotional. I listened to the audiobook this too, and the narrators are perfection, so definitely read this in audio if you're interested. Then I have Maybe Next Time by Christina C. Jones. This one's a shorter one. I do think it's less than 200 pages, and the hero is a billionaire. All I remember, I read this a couple years ago, but he literally like kidnaps her basically and forces her onto his yacht so they can confront their problems, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun reading it. I do love a forced proximity situation where they're forced to be together and address problems that they're having and they can't really escape their issues and work things out. So if that sounds fun, if you want a quick one to get through, read this one. Then I have Ever After Always by Chloe Leese. This one is part of the Bergman Brothers series, and the hero and heroine are having some issues and they go on a family vacation together, and I just really love the dynamics of the family. They're really just an established couple and they are having some problems, and the one hero doesn't really want to go to therapy and doesn't see it as helpful. This does have to to do with them having kids together, and they do end up going to therapy together to work things out. And I just really love the whole setting with a lot of people in the mix, and there's like a lot of funny antics that go on because the Bergmans are hilarious, and I just love this book so much. And I was looking at my Goodreads review, and apparently I read this in one day because I couldn't put it down, so I listened to this audio as well. A lot of these I listen to an audio. I remember the hero also deals with a lot of anxiety and has to work through his feelings on that, and I just love this one so much. So check this one out and check out the entire series. Then I have Asher by Carrie and Cole. This one is an amnesia romance. Asher and Ember have been madly in love for so long, and then the heroine Ember gets amnesia and does not know her husband at all, and is kind of freaked out by the entire situation and doesn't feel like the same person that he's in love with. So it does have to do with her grappling a lot with like her identity and who she wants to be, and like if the husband can fall in love with her again, and he has to deal with his wife not wanting to touch him or be around him and like wanting separate life from him and trying to see if they can fall back in love. So I enjoyed this one with the aspect of them having to fall in love all over again and find if they like are soulmates and destined to be together, because they were so incredibly in love with each other before. And you see them throughout the series because this is book 6. You don't have to read them in order, but I enjoy this one. I do always love a little amnesia in my romances though, so it shouldn't be a surprise, but he is also a rock star. And yeah, that's this book, and I did really enjoy it. Definitely a new, fresh take on the marriage and trouble romance. Another one that I really loved is Bring You Back by Ava Hunter. This one, they are having a rocky time in their marriage because he is dealing with some gambling issues and really putting her in danger and breaking her trust. So she decides to go and says she wants a divorce and goes to her family's ranch that they have a lot of memories from, like when they were falling in love, and he is determined to win her back. So he visits as well, and he will do anything to win her back. And I love the setting. I love them going back to her family's ranch and falling back to the place where they really fell in love, and him trying to earn her trust back because he has to grovel because of how much he hurt her and how bad he let things get. And we do see a lot of the other band members as well, because this is the 4th book in the series. You can read them as standalones. I think it's a lot better when you read them in order to see like kind of the culmination of their story, but so good. I really enjoy this one, and I love Ava Hunter and her small town romances. The last one's for last because you guys know I'm obsessed with this book, and that is Forget Me Not by QB Tyler. This one is an amnesia romance, and they're like literally about to get a divorce. It's like days away from signing the papers because he cheated on her, because there were issues with them trying to get pregnant together, and they just did not know how to communicate and deal with their emotions about what was happening. So they were drifting apart. He cheats. She's horrified and wants a divorce. And so he gets into a car accident and doesn't remember the last like 5 years. He thinks they're still absolutely obsessed with each other, madly in love, and she's like, no, you cheated on me, don't touch me, and she has to take care of him. And so he is like horrified that he would ever do that and wants to win her back, and it's so good, so angsty. I read this on audio the first time around, then I reread it physically because I'm obsessed with it. One of my favorite books of all time. Such a good amnesia trope. I don't mind cheating as long as like things resolve, so this one was very good. And those are my marriage and trouble recommendations. Please let me know your recommendations. I need more of this trope so badly, so give me all the recs, especially if they're on audio. As you can tell, I listen to a lot of these on audio and I love them. And if you've read these, let me know your thoughts, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.